everybody, it's Connie and I'm live and I have so many things I want to show today. You were probably wondering if I was even going to go live today after yesterday. You know, yesterday we made bunny cards, really cute. Easter, I made, we did our Stash Buster, and a lot of you who didn't watch the Stash Buster were probably wondering what that post was about, where I showed my Fun Flock. Fun Flock is old, and it's still available in different colors. I only have it in white and brown because we used to use it on teddy bears and stuff like that. Basically, it's just a fluffy, I don't even know what it is. It's probably some kind of weird, I don't know. It feels like fabric. You just don't know. But anyway, it's just a loose fiber, and you take some glue and put it where you want it, and then you pat it down and let it dry, and you end up with these really cute furry bunny butts. There you go. And so yesterday I made bunny cards for Easter. I made some with carrots, some with Easter eggs. Aren't they cute? Anyway, so that was my Stash Buster yesterday. I used up my Honey Bunny papers, and I'm happy to say almost all of my scraps and, you know, like my big sheets were used, which is really a big deal. The other thing that I've been making lately, which I posted, are some of my lava lamp cards. And this was not my idea, but a long, long time ago, we used to use hair gel, and we would mix like glitter and sequins in it, and then we would use our like press and seal, heat seal machine to make a pouch, and then we would put it inside a card, kind of like a shaker. You can kind of see I've got foam around there to lift it up. And Tailored Expressions, they remade it using just Ziploc baggies, which I'm hoping they won't leak. I sealed the heck out of them. And then I have this lava lamp stamp and die, and isn't that cute? And it's fun. You can push on it and you can get it to squish around. I probably put too much stuff in it. But it is really fun to kind of mess with and see the stuff squish all over the place. So I've been making groovy stamps, cards. The other card that I've been making is, I made a whole bunch using this new cake paper. And I made some of them with cake and some of them with the floral background of the, and then these are dies. The cool part about this is that you get to show off all those fun patterns of your paper. And I just want to show you really quick how you can make these if you like them. This is not what I had planned on showing you today, but just so you can see. Set those aside for a second. On my template, I have a template. I keep it in here. Fancy fold window card is what I call this. I don't know what other people call it. It's very common. But basically you need two pieces. You need a standard A2 card base, and you cut a shape in the middle. Now the shape needs, ideally, should be kind of symmetrical. It needs to be Like here, I use the hexagon. I'm getting stuff everywhere. And that other piece is a 5 by 8 inch. And you're gonna score it and fold it so it looks like this. This is what it looks like on this side. So it's like a mountain, valley. And you score it at basically 2.5, 4.5, and 6. 2.5, 4.5, and 6. And you just kind of make this weird mechanism. Then it adheres to the back here with an even border, and you fold it and adhere this side down to the front of your card. Don't put adhesive in here. And then when it folds up, see, it'll pop up like this. So this is kind of my template. And I just sort of keep this together. I have one in here that I made in a class with the paper cut, and they used a square or a rectangle. I think that's a square actually, but anyway, so you can kind of see how fun that is, how it kind of pops up, and it's super simple. A very easy pop-up to do. So I just thought I'd show you that. And then at the end, when you have it to the point where I decorate the front with my paper, then I do my die cutting, right? And then I go ahead and put a strip of paper on each of those folds. And then I glue the whole thing like this. When you get to this point, this is where you add your cake or whatever. Where did I put it? Here it is. So I've made this shape, and the only part that gets glued is right here. So when you are gluing, you only want to glue that part, and that way the rest of the mechanism will be mobile. Do you see that? So I'm going to put this in here into my window, and I'm going to press, make sure it's pressed down, and then see when you open it, it's only adhered to that one strip right there. So then it's like a movable thing. And then I really love using these dots. These are, what dots are these? These are the fine sparkle back adhesive back gems. And heck, I can't keep track of what is retired and what's not right now. There's so many new products to keep track of. But I really do like these gems for this. They coordinate with the paper so well, and they're kind of flat, so they're a lot better for like scrapbook pages and stuff. So they're probably the ones that come with it. For all I know, I should have marked on them. I don't know. The other thing that I did when I die cut the icing, like this one, I put glue all over it, and then I sprinkled some glitter on. This one I put on liquid glass, or you can put dimensional glaze. And this one I used my glaze pen, and it gives it a shine. There you go, you can see that shine. So I think that's pretty cool. And hold on, just, yeah. And so I think that ends up looking kind of neat too. Anyway, so I've been making some cake. This is the one that I used, Cake Celebrations, to make the cake and the layers and the cool icing. And then this one is meant to be hexagons, and I'm just keeping those separate because by golly, I'm using them like crazy. All right, The other thing that I wanted to show you is something I meant to show you at Christmas time. So, you know, when you go into like Hobby Lobby or TJ Maxx or whatever, everybody has these kind of cheap box kind of things that are like $2 or $3. This one was $3.50 or $4 half price. I think it actually was 60% off when I bought it. So what I did, this says comfy and cozy are we. It doesn't matter what it says. I just wanted the beaded border. I put a couple of Velcro dots on it and on the back of this. I measured and cut some cardstock, and I just made it 2 or 3 thick so that it would be sturdy. And then I used my die cuts and stamps to make this cute little scene. And this has been in my craft room now since Christmas, and it's just really cute. And the reason I put Velcro on it is because I thought it would be really neat to make a you know, now I'm gonna make a Valentine one, then I can make an Easter one, then you know what I mean. I just think that's really a cute idea for something that is really inexpensive and dimensional, and I just love it. I just love it. The other thing I grabbed, this came in a set of 3 from Michael's. I use a lot of these kind of little frames. This is a 4x4 opening. I used a lot of these for my cross stitch. I just take the glass or plexiglass out, and then I can have it kind of puffy and dimensional looking. And so I just thought I'd share that with you, that I did make that. I was going to make it on a live, and man, I just feel like I would have to go live every day to show you all the stuff that I make. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to show it all today. How's that? So that's a bunch. That's a lot, right? Thank you guys for watching. It's so nice. I appreciate it a lot. Here's what I have planned today. Link Together. Now, the Link Together set has several things. It has a really nice stamp set. And then it has dies. Let me pull those out. I didn't put my dies on a magnet sheet, and I hate how the dies come with this sticky tape, but there you go. Okay, so you get this really nice stamp set, and the dies are really cool. I love the vines and the flowers and stuff. I just didn't have time to cut a bunch today, or I would have. But there's also a stencil pack with this one, and I haven't seen anybody online using it, and I'm like, why not? That is crazy. I love it so much. It's one of the very first things that I grabbed in this kit. So here's how it works. I went ahead and I put, there's a little triangle on the top corner of each stencil, and there's a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I went ahead and just used a little black Sharpie and rubbed on there, and then I put a piece of Scotch tape over the numbers so that they would stay dark, because it drives me crazy to try to hold them up to light and stuff and see the numbers. And with this one in particular, it doesn't matter if you use all 5, but you have to go in order. So if you just want to use this one and this one, that's fine, but you got to use 2 first and then 4. If you want to use 1, 3, and 5, you have to go in that order, 1, 3, and 5. You can't go 5, 3, 1, okay? Because what happens is they overlap, and the back ones will totally, completely, this one would totally cover all the other stenciling, okay? So this is your background, typically the lightest color, right? And then it should go lightest to darkest. And so I just want to show you, the back one is this real sweet little flower. And then there's this geometric, they're all like geometrics. This one is really unique. And I didn't think I would ever use it, but I did stencil a few to show you. And then we've got 3 layers of diamond slash, look at that one. Does that not look like chicken wire? I'm just saying this one would be perfect for the background of some of my chicken cards. You know, I like to make chicken cards. It's also like a trellis, or you know, it's just a cool diamond pattern. So you could just use 1, 2, 3, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, you know, whatever you like. And I made a whole bunch to show you what they look like. But first, let's just stencil. Let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? That way you can kind of see. I have a piece of cardstock. I have a whole bunch. It's really fun when you get stencils to just cut a bunch of cardstock panels, and you can always cut them down or whatever you want. I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit more so that you can, if I go much closer, I think I'll be off camera. I have my reds. I have the palest pink, a medium pink, a bright pink, and a red. And for number 5, I thought I'll either use a black or a dark brown. And today, with what I'm doing, I want to use a dark brown. Now, I have the early espresso cube for Stampin' Up, and I think that early espresso color might actually look better on this, but we're just gonna go with what I have out for now. Okay, so first color is your palest color, all right? And you don't have to have a different brush for everything, but I have a lot of brushes. I'm just one of those crazy people. Now I use the same brush for the light and the medium pink, and so I like to have a microfiber sponge just to kind of wipe it off so that you can distinguish the colors. Now, one of the things that is kind of cool about this, if you want to do this using the little triangle, it helps you line it up, which is really nice. These stencils are really easy to line up, but I'm going to show you anyway how to do it. Let me find my tape. This is just some low tack tape, but it's low tack, but I don't recommend it. It has a tendency to tear my paper. It drives me crazy. All right, so let's just say that's tacked down. It's crooked. I know that's gonna drive some of you crazy. I get comments later, hey, your stuff is crooked. Okay. And then I'm gonna kind of try to center this on here, and I'm going to use a marker. You can use like a water-based marker. I like to use, hold on, let me grab one. On this glass mat, you can use a Sharpie even, and you can get it off. But I'm gonna use my Expo dry erase marker, and I'm just gonna make a mark in that, so that now every time I put a new stencil on, I just have to line that up. Do you see that? And it'll be lined up on my paper. All right, now, normally you would tape your stencils down or use a tacky mat. You've seen me use tacky mats before, and part of that is so that Oh yeah, people tell me it's crooked. It's okay because it doesn't bother me. You know, here's the thing, when I'm on camera, my arms are out in front of me. My head is not necessarily over the center. And so I don't always notice stuff like that because I'm not, otherwise you would see my head in my camera, you know, it's kind of a weird thing. So I'm using the palest color of pink, and I'm starting at the outside. I'm using a super light touch, and then I can push harder as I can see how much ink I'm depositing. Now, obviously, it looks like I'm doing almost nothing, but when you lift the stencil, you'll see the pattern coming through, and it's a very pale look, and that's okay. I like that. I'm going to go around the edge just a little bit more. And it's okay if it's a little bit splotchy too. The other thing about stenciling is it's important to do a wax on, wax off kind of deal, like a circular one way, then a circular the other way, and then even maybe up and down a little bit so that you hit all the edges of your template, right? Okay, so we have color number 1 done. And before I take this off, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to wipe my brush because I'm going to use it for the next color. And then I'm going to wipe my stencil because that way it'll take off the bulk of the ink and I won't make a big freaking mess everywhere. I am really sloppy. Okay, there's number 1. All right, ready for number 2. So now we're going to line up our little corner, and you can see when you line it up, it's hard to see on camera, I think, but you can kind of see the white lines in between your grid lines, and it may, you know, it may not be totally perfect, but it'll be pretty close, right? I'm gonna now go with my next color of pink. This darker shade now, it may be, I don't want to just sploosh and start. I want to start off the edge a little bit and come in. And that way, if I do get a big blotch of the sponge, it's not right in the center of my project, right? I'm wax on, wax off. That's Karate Kid. Remember Karate Kid? I hope you guys remember that. Anyway, I'm waxing on, waxing off, waxing on, waxing off. So you'll see me going in circles, and I just want to make sure all my spots are hit. And then when you lift it and reveal, now what you'll see is the palest color in the background of each diamond, and then the darker color layered on top of it. Now, I kind of like that color a little darker, so I'm going to go a little bit more. The other thing you can do, which is really cool, is you can do really dark at the top or bottom or in the middle, and highlight one area. So it almost will give you an ombre look where it'll be darker, going to lighter. Isn't that cool? Gosh, I just love it. So then you always start at the bottom and move your way up. You start at the bottom and move up, and then you get an ombre look because the darkest will always be here, and then you're moving that ink up here as it gets lighter and lighter on your brush. Okay. Again, I don't always wipe my brush off at this point, but I'm going to wipe that off, and I'm going to wipe off my stencil. Now, the other thing, you don't really have to wipe off your stencil right now. I'm just a slob, and if I want to make another card or show you other techniques, then I feel like I need to have my stencils somewhat clean. All right, so we're lining up our little arrow again. And I'm also looking to see that my lines, when you look, I don't know if I can zoom in enough for you guys to see. It's probably not worth trying. But you can kind of see the white line right in here. And that is what I am trying to make it fairly even. See how there's like an X in the middle of each thing? I'm just sort of looking at it and making sure it's not like wonky and crooked and crazy, okay? All right, back out again, just a little. All right, so our next color is gonna be a bright pink. And this one is bold. I gotta tell you, if you sploosh in the middle of your project here, you're definitely gonna get a pounce mark. So sometimes I tap it off on my table just a little to get the excess, and then light. But I don't even care. I want this to be bold, so I'm going to wax on, wax off all the stencils. Layering stencils is so much fun, and so many companies now have stencils that are like flowers, where you do the background in a base shade and then you get darker and darker, and as you get smaller and smaller, it gives a cool shading effect. Okay, it's really neat. Now these red colors especially can stain your stencils a little bit, but I'll show you how I clean them. Now, look at that reveal. Cool. I like that color. And you can make it even more. I mean, you can make that bolder if you want. So let's do that. Just so you can see, you can really get that ink saturated. One thing I have noticed, as stencils have become so much more popular than they used to be. I mean, now it's almost hard to find stamp sets that don't have a layering stencil on the market. They almost all have dies and stencils when you're out shopping. And so it's really important to buy the reinkers to your ink pads, because you use your ink. You're using a lot more ink than if you're just stamping a few lined images, you know what I mean? Wipe my brush, and I'm gonna wipe my... The reason I'm wiping this while it's still in place is that any excess ink will go onto my project and not just be floating around. And if you wait and do this, you're gonna transfer whatever ink is on there to your next page. Like if I took this now and used this with blue, it still has some pink ink on it. You can see that, and that would transfer. Okay, let's go to number 4. Isn't that looking good? Okay, so we're gonna line up our little arrow again, and this is that funky geometric that I have no name for, but what I'm looking at is I have my triangle lined up, which is great, but I also want it to be, make sure I get it straight. Like I could cut a second triangle in it on the side or something, even to like line up 2 triangles. But what I'm looking for is I want all my little lines of this stencil to be nice and centered as much as possible between my hot pink diamonds. So I'm just looking, and sometimes it takes a little wiggling around and stuff. Now we're gonna go with a bright red. And this red is a pretty bold red. And so we want to, again, start light, you know, don't push hard. And you're going to wax on, wax off. I'm going to do a layer over the whole thing really light. And then you can see, we can raise it up and we can see if that looks like enough. It's very easy to miss places on a stencil if you don't go in different directions. If you only go, for example, what is that, counterclockwise, you're gonna have white spaces where you've missed a few. So, and most of the time, I mean, this will make a very cool card front, but most of the time we're gonna trim it down a little, or you could use your dies and cut out of the stencil. All right, like, oh, pretty. Boy, that's really neat looking, isn't it? It makes a very cool effect. Like, you could take your heart die or something and cut out of the center of that. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things you can do. I feel like I'm a little light up here at the top. So, any thoughts? What do you think so far? This is cool, right? This is really cool. There are a lot of layering stencils. I was thrilled that Stampin' Up! Is getting in on it. I get tired of layering stencils for flowers, but the layering stencils for flowers are outstanding in color, and they're a nice, quick, easy way to color. And you can make a lot of flowers doing assembly line layering. But I love that there is a layered, dimensional, like geometric. Okay. See, I still have a lot of red on that, even though I wiped it. Okay, so I could stop, but we have stencil number 5, which is that little, what I'm calling a flower. I'm not sure it's a flower. I don't know what that is. I recognize that pattern from when I was growing up. Now, my little triangle's a little off camera. Okay, there we go. I could line that up, but I really, on this one especially, it's going to be a dark color, okay? I really want to make sure that each of those little flowers, like, it will look weird if you have it even a little bit crooked. If you have it perfect down here and it's a little off up there, you're gonna see it. It's really, so I'm gonna take a minute and I'm gonna look at it and make sure that all of my flowers are lined up as much as possible. And what I'm looking at here, these 2 bottom little petals, in almost all of them, are touching the edge of that red underneath, right? And so I'm just looking, and look, all of my petals are in the same place. Even if they're just a smidgen off, they're gonna look fine. All right, let's go with a dark brown. And I have my brown brush. And I'm gonna start off again and come in, because this is another very bold dark color, and it's very easy to get heavy-handed and get a uneven coverage. And I'm gonna lift it to show you how that looks. Isn't that cool? Now see how light this is right here? This looks better if it's bold, this pattern, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. All right, so I'm gonna go heavy-handed on the ink here. I re-inked my mocha right before I went live, which is, I never do. I always let it sit after I re-ink it, let it soak in a little. But my Mocha ink, I've used it so much lately that it was getting dry. And it is really hard to stencil with a dry ink pad. And if you're struggling to get enough ink on, you're putting it on, doing your brush, putting it on, doing your brush, over and over and over, re-ink your pad. You'll be a lot happier. Okay, I'm looking around, I'm kind of looking at it to see if I think I missed any areas. Looks pretty good to me. Okay, so now I have all 5 colors done. And let me just wipe this off. And then I'm going to show you how I clean these. And then I'm going to show you a whole bunch of backgrounds that I made. You know, just messing around. Okay, look at that. Isn't that cool? So close up. Boy, that's close up. There you go. You can kind of see that pale pink. You can see that hot pink. You know, that weird geometric that we did in red, it really does cover a lot. And so my thought was, what can we do to make it not quite so in your face? So first, let's clean. Here is what I use to clean my stencils. I have this spray bottle, and it's from CVS. It doesn't have to be from, it's just alcohol, 91%. And I just clean my glass mat, and then I just do a real quick spritz of my stencils. I do not use alcohol ever to clean my my stamp pads, okay? Alcohol cleans ink off of this plastic like a dream. But if you use this on your acrylic blocks and your acrylic stamps and stuff, you will dry them out, and it will change how they work. So this is just for my stencils and it really works great to get ink off of my glass mat. Now, the other thing you can do, of course, you don't want to do this, you take them to the sink and you just kind of wash them in soapy water. And if they stain a little from red, no biggie, okay? As long as you know that these are clean, as long as you know that these are clean, they're not going to transfer ink. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right, you ready? Now, I have my different stencils, and I want to show you. I'm going to put my alcohol away here. Oh, it's so easy to get that stuff all over the place in a spray bottle, but look how easy that was. Some people buy those like Dollar Tree bottles and fill it with alcohol, you know, from your medicine cabinet. That's fine. All right, you ready? Okay, this is number 1 and number 3. So what I did was an all over of that dark pink, okay? And then I skipped number 2, and number 3 is this smaller triangle, and I did it in red. So you can see when it layers, you can see how that looks. That's neat, right? 1 and 3. And then the next one, I did 1, 2, and 3. So I just went in order with just those 3 main diamond geometrics, right? 1 in the palest color, 2 in flamingo, and 3 in the hot pink, just like we just did. And I just stopped there. And I like how that looks too, right? And the next one, I did 1, 2, 3, 4 without the dots, which, you know, adds that odd, this odd geometric right here. I think it just changes everything so drastically. Okay, and then, let's see, hold on. Here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 where I did not use red. I used a real pale pink, and then that second pink. I used 2 layers of that pink. So one layer of it really, really light, and one layer of it using a heavy hand. And then number 5, of course, is in brown on that one. You can see, so 1, 2, and 3 is the hot pink. I hope that makes sense. Geesh. Talk about jumping around. Okay, here is just 2, 4, and 5. This skips that all over background one. Is that cool? And I got more. I have a pile over here. 1, 4, and 5. So basically what I skipped were the other diamonds. I skipped these extra diamonds and just went with an all over pink, and then the weird geometric, and then, you know, the flower. I kind of like that one. That one would look really nice with flowers or florals on it. And then I was like, what about just number 5 by itself? I did that in just that second pink. I think it looks really nice. It's very sweet. You could totally see putting, you know, a couple of little hearts on there or something and making a card, right? Or a couple of little images and making a card. I think that one looks really good. And then I was like, ooh, what about rainbow? So I started with a red and just kind of went across. And then I did yellow. And when you stencil with the, if you make your red go down to about here, and then you do yellow and overlap your red by 1 or 2 rows here, you end up with orange, right? Because they overlap and mix. So you end up with a red, orange, yellow combo, and you get that. And then if you make your yellow go down a little farther, and then put your blue over it, and you get a green. So you end up with a yellow that turns into green, and then your blue. And then this one, I just used a purple because it was easier than getting out red and going over it again. Cool. Love the rainbow thing. I thought that was kind of fun. And especially with those new arch dies, I might be making some rainbow things. Okay, here's the one we just made together. And then I wanted to play with just this one. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to try to stencil on a dark color. So I took like a brown panel, and I used my white pigment ink. Now, when you use a white pigment ink, I just want to show you. Let me grab it. It's important that you don't use a blending brush with pigment-based inks. Pigment inks are super duper thick and gloppy kind of. They're meant to stay wet. And if you use a blending brush, it will definitely like get underneath your stencil. So here, I'll just take this and show you a little example. I use a sponge dauber, you know, a finger dauber or a sponge thing like this, and pounce. And then I pounce. And you can kind of do a little twisty motion, but you don't want it to get under your stencil. If you use a brush, it will get under your stencil. And you don't want to mix a pigment ink with a dye ink on a brush. So once you have used this for a pigment ink like this, that's what it is. You don't wash it out and use it for something else or whatever. You're just using that as your pigment blender, and that's what I do. All right, so I'm going to lift that up, and I want to show you how cool that is. See how it leaves the shadow? Now, I could have done that with any of the stencils, right? Any of the stencils would give that really cool effect. Okay. We'll clean my stencil because I'm bad about doing it before I start later. And I always clean them front and back. Okay. So that's a cool look. And I went ahead and made a card. I liked that so well. I made a card using that technique. So I made a whole background using that pigment ink. And then these are those translucent florals. Boy, those are pretty. It's hard to make these look bad. I simply stamped and cut them out. That's it. The other thing that's on here that is new are these little tiny little gold bees. Aren't they sweet? And I just put, you know, a dot of glue and put them on there and let them dry. But you could use a glue dot, an actual glue dot, if you wanted to. Anyway, I thought that was a really sweet card, and that did not take very long. So the layering stencils, my opinion, just my humble opinion, is that you need to do what I did and like make a whole boatload of backgrounds, and you don't want to pull all this out to make one thing. I mean, it's really nice to play around with them a little bit and then have these together. I would love to play with these in blue, or, you know, all yellows and oranges, or, you know what I mean? Like it'd be fun to kind of mess around with these a little bit and maybe make the background yellow, and then this one in orange, and this one in red, right? I mean, think of the possibilities of layering a rainbow of colors. You just remember, you go light to dark, because you can see how they kind of stack on each other. And then I thought, okay, I got to make a card today. I can't just, I don't want to just stencil and leave it at that. And so I got out a couple, I made like some card bases, and I just thought it would be kind of fun to, make a few cards. So here's what I did. I grabbed a couple of extra stamp sets. This one is the Hearts of Elegance. Sorry, I need to zoom out just a little bit so you can see more. There. Okay, so the Hearts of Elegance. This one, you know, I bought it because I like the messages on it. How the size of them are nice and large. I didn't necessarily go, ooh, Valentine's, but I think these will be nice on a scrapbook page. But what I loved about them is the dies. And even if all you buy is the dies, it'd be worth it because you get the layered hearts, you get this big solid heart, you get this cool stitched heart. And so I cut out a whole bunch of hearts from here. And then this heart-shaped is one of the freebies from the celebration where you can get the stamp set and the dies. If you buy $120, you get that free. Well, this heart right here is a huge winner. Huge, huge. And so I cut out a whole bunch of hearts, and I thought that would be fun. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to make hearts, I'm going to make a few Valentines. And I specifically bought this set kind of for Valentine's. It's kind of a sleeper. I'm sure there's not a lot of people who were like clamoring for this one, but I gave the puzzle piece away to somebody who has a autistic person in their family because that's like the autism symbol, and I knew I would not use it. I really love, we go together like salt and pepper and milk and cookies, and the milk and cookies sold me. As you know, the milk and cookies, of course they sold me. And so I went ahead and decided to make a bunch of milk and cookies. So there you go. Now this does not have a die set, so I used my brother's Scan and Cut. I'm surprised how well these cut out. I'm pretty happy with them. I had to trim a couple because my cardstock is crazy thick and the blade has trouble going through that. All right, so let's make a card or something. Let me just clean off my space just a smidge. I have got stuff from here to Timbuktu, okay? If you need more stencil tips, let me know. We can make more stenciling. I just, Okay, so all of my panels like this, I made just a tiny bit smaller. I like I really like having my panels just like 1/8 of an inch smaller. And so this is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. So this one is 4 by 5 1/4. So if I'm going to put this something on the front, maybe I'll use this one. That looks really sweet, right? I need to cut this down 1/4 inch smaller so that it will layer. I like the white around the border, and I could just use it as is, just like that. That looks good, but I want to try to cut this down. So let me just cut 1/8 of an inch off of each side, and yeah, I have to do like 1/8 of an inch off of each side because of that white border. It's kind of weird to not be able to just cut. Boy, that looks really nice. I kind of like the bolder look. Ah, isn't that sweet? So let's put that on. We'll make a real simple. Did you see how this is sort of ombre light to dark? I could flip it around and do it this way also. But this one was that ombre light to dark. And then this milk, I just shaded it with an ice gray marker, and I made that red. And then I have 3 different ways that I colored the cookies. These cookies, I did a real light hand. They're like muted brown. I just think those are crazy cute. And these I like a lot. They're using earth brown. And then these I used a combination of like golden brown and muted brown, and I don't know. I did a combination of colors, just trying to get different colors of cookies, you know what I mean? So I think that's real sweet. And then I cut different layers of circles and little, this is just a paper punch. And then I thought we could stamp on there the stamp that says, you know, we go together like milk and cookies. Isn't that sweet? The other thing, instead of this, if you don't like this, I have all those hearts, and so it would be really nice to, you know, add a few little hearts. I think these are really cute. This is real sweet. I would probably put some kind of border down at the bottom, like a strip or a ribbon or something. So there's one that I think would look really good together. And then I kind of folded one, you know, like gatefold back, like a single gatefold. And I thought this would look really nice, like with the one we just made, right? And let's see. It's really big, so I got to cut that down. And to make the pattern even, you do kind of have to cut it down on each side. Unless you're better at lining things up than I am. But I really like how that looks. Oh, that looks crooked. That's going to be annoying. So I really like how that looks. That's really cool looking. And I could even put, you know, a panel behind it. I don't think I will though. I think I'm going to put hearts on it. The other thing too is you can cut this down and layer just part of it on here, and that would look really good. Cool, cool, cool. I like them all. So my goal this afternoon then is to basically put all my panels on bases and put some hearts on things. Everything's out of the camera, have you noticed? So I like this on here with my We Go Together, and then I'll have my milk, and I can write in and then we can put some cookies here and over here. That way when the card opens, you'll be able to see cookies on the inside too. I love that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stamp and get that done. I think I'm gonna use the hot pink. We Go Together. there's all kinds of little messages in here that I really like. If you're not, you know, wanting to make Valentines. My husband and I do not typically give each other Valentines. Sometimes we get Fannie Mae. We get like a box together. We'll go into the store. We're lucky enough to have a Fannie Mae store still. And so sometimes we'll go into the store and get a mixed box together, and Jen likes to go in on that with us. All right, I'm gonna do half, and I definitely want a heart up there. What size? I think I need the other color. Oh my gosh, these are cute. You know, I really love all the different sizes and colors of hearts. And if I put a big heart on the inside, I'll be able to put a message on it, and it'll be covered by the front. Like that. I like that. Now, the other thing I just want to tell you that I really want to do is I'm kind of wanting to put some dimensional, clear dimensional, like liquid glass or shine onto the hearts of these cookies. I just think they're adorable. And to do that, I have to wait and do it last. Let me get out. I think I'm gonna pop up a couple little images. Isn't that so cute? I like it right there. Milk and cookies. And then I'm just gonna do I'm gonna write in, and I could have used a plus sign, could have left it blank because everybody gets it. I love it. And then to use a dimensional thing like diamond glaze or liquid glass or anything, you always want to make sure it's stored up and down like this, and that your tip is unclogged to start with. And then when you put it on, it loves to clog this stuff. So I tend to store it sideways in my bin, and then it'll go on and it will look a little cloudy, but when it dries, it'll look like that cake frosting, and it will just be super dimensional, shiny. And so I'm just gonna put that on, and I need to make sure I don't smash my card down into that glaze, because it'll be like glue. It will stick. And I just think it's so cute. Isn't that cute? And it needs a little bling. Like I can put some little sparkles on there. Oh, so cute. Okay, I've been on here for over an hour, so I think that's it for today. And if you have any questions about anything I use, let me know. Just shoot me a message. Like here I have some like gold thread and little bees and all that stuff is available. I don't even think I used anything not available today. I'm so proud of myself. All right. Have a good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for watching and hanging in there with me. Bye-bye.